and so today we are going to learn about what are constraints in Figma. So, what are constraints? So, you see, for that, I will first make a new frame and just remove it for a while. I just copy this photo frame, not exactly a frame, but a rectangle with the image background. So, whenever we make an object and put it inside a frame, I'll just middle line it horizontally. So you see this the you see these lines, these dotted lines that's coming from from the top and from the left. These are called constraints. So what does that mean? So you see, if you see constraints just as it is, you will not be able to understand it. For that, you will have to resize the frame size. So you see, when you resize the frame, the object remains at the same position only, but compared to and relative to the top and left of the frame. So that is constraint. So I will explain it once again. So you see, this was the original frame that we decided upon and put an object into it. So when I resize the constraint frame, for example, like this or this, or I'll just zoom out a bit, or like this. So you see, this object remains at the same position but relative to the constraints, which means according to the top of the frame and according to the left of the frame. So if the frame is, for example, it's 89 pixels uh, from the top and 75 pixels to the left of the frame. So I will just to keep it a little bit easier for you. Now it is 90 pixels from the top and 80 pixels from the left. So these are the constraints. So no matter how you resize your frame, you resize like this, you resize like this, you resize like this, or even you resize like this object will always remain 90 pixels from the top and 80 pixels from the left. So that is constraints. So you can also, where can you look about constraints like in the panel? So for that you go to the design panel and then you go into the constraint section. So this is the constraint sections. So you can change your constraints. You see, this shows what is the horizontal constraint. So it is the left. So from horizontally, it is constrained by the left position, left of the frame, which is 80 pixels from the frame from the left, and from the top, which it also shows like a horizontal constraint even in the symbol. So it shows it will always remain 90 pixels from the top. So you can change it like. It is always like 50 pixels from the top and 50 pixels from the left. So now whenever you resize your frame, it will always remain 50 pixels from the top and 50 pixels from the left. Now to see the constraint, you will always have to select the object and then will show its a particular constraints. Remember, it will not show the constraint, how much it is constrained by. So it will not show the pixel number. It will only show that the constraint applies the left and top. Now you can apply the constraints from the right and bottom also. Now you see, as you change it to right and bottom, the constraint lines change from right and bottom of the frame. So you see, now the object is constrained from the right side and from the bottom side. Now from the right, it is constrained by 456 pixel and 540 pixel. Now we will just change the position of the, so to make it easier, I'll give it 50-50, just like before. It's 50 almost, and it is 50 also. Now, no matter how you resize your frame from here or from here or from here, it will always remain 50 pixels, zero point 0.5 pixels from the right and 50 pixels from the bottom. So that's how constraint works. Now, there are other ways that you can position your style of constraints. For example, center, scale, and like many others which we will be going through right now. So for example, let's keep it in the middle from the vertical and middle in the horizontal. But the constraints, remember, but the constraint is still right and bottom, so it will not remain in the center. It will only remain uh, according to like whatever pixels are from the right and bottom. It will remain from that size only. It will not remain in the center. Now what if you want it to remain in the center, because you have only one, so you have put in center. Now you want it to, no matter how it says by frame, it should always remain in the center. Now for that, what you will have to do is you will have to give it left, right, and top, bottom, I guess. So no, so you will have to give it center, center. Let me see. Yes, yeah. So you see, now for once that you have aligned it horizontally in the middle and vertically in the middle. Now, but if you want that no matter how you resize your frame horizontally or vertically, give it lesser height or lesser weights or more weights and more height, you want it to remain in middle. For that, you will have to change the constraints to center, center, which means horizontally center and vertically center. Horizontally center is like this, that horizontally line, and the vertical center is like this. So you have to do that way, and then however you resize it, your frame, it will always remain in the center. So that's for the center thing. Now remember, it doesn't scale. The width and the height of the object remains fixed when you scale your frame size either horizontally or vertically. Now if you want that your object should also scale according to how much your frame scales, so you would have to give it scale constraint from the like horizontally, or you can also give it vertically as well. When you when you increase your frame width, you see the object also scales. For example, your frame scales 200%, so the object will also scale 200% according to its original size. And in similar manner, we give it vertically scaling also as a constraint. So you see, it will vertically scale also proportionally. For example, if you scale your frame 150% vertically, so the object will also scale 150% vertically. So that's how a scale works. Now it's not necessary that you want to scale your object horizontally as well as vertically. You can also scale it only horizontally or only vertically as well. So for just an example, I will scale it only horizontally. So I will scale it horizontally, but for vertically, I will just keep it proportional to the top. So you see, as it is in the top, so it will not be scaling. It will remain like at fixed position from the top. For example, it's 448 from the top, it will remain 448 pixels only. But if I scale or widen the frame horizontally, you see it scales, because the constraint for horizontally is scale for the subject, but from the for the vertically, it is from the top. So that's how it works. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what is the difference between a scale and left and right? So we will just do a left and right now. So select the object to see what are its constraints. So horizontally, I'll give it a left and right. So you see, what it will do is you see, what are the constraints right now? It's around 397 pixels from both the sides. And just ignore zero point 0.5 for once. I will tell you why it comes. uh, okay, I'll just tell you why it comes. Okay, so this zero point 0.5 comes because the width of our frame is not a particularly even number. That's why. Now if I just do 224, now you see it's 397 and 397. Okay, so now that I have given it left and right, and you see it's 397 pixels from the left and 397 pixels from the right, and if we widen the frame, it still will remain 397 pixel from the left and 397 pixel from the